Hello everyone, I'm Jane Tufnell, Chair of ICG Enterprise Trust, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to our Shareholder Seminar, whether you're an existing shareholder or learning about us for the first time. Here we are on the 10th of March 2026, and clearly the optimism that we saw in 2025 has given way to a more uncertain tone over the last few weeks. Public markets performed well in 2025, both in the US and Europe. And recent reports on private markets show that 2025 was also an improved year, particularly with regard to transactional activity. But the last few weeks have reminded all of us how quickly uncertainty can re-emerge. Oliver and his team will talk in more detail about the portfolio and how they manage your capital through periods of volatility and uncertainty. From a board perspective, we remain focused on delivering long-term shareholder returns and on making ICGT as attractive and as accessible as possible to a range of investors. As volatility in public markets has increased since the end of January, we've lent heavily into our buyback programme, deploying £11 million in line with our commitment to use the buyback both to enhance NAV per share and to work with the markets to reduce the volatility of the discount. So in this backdrop, I think the thing that tends to matter for long-term outcomes is less the short-term events, but whether portfolios demonstrate the right level of diversification, is managed in the right way and with the correct level of discipline and selectivity. This is exactly the sort of environment where resiliency and diversification matter, and where ICGT's focus will be a great advantage. We seek to offer investors a portfolio of resilient private companies that deliver long-term growth. We focus on profitable, cash-generative, mid-market companies in the developed markets of the US and Europe. But this is a portfolio that cannot be replicated in the public markets. And as companies are staying private for longer, this gives you access to a different part of the economy. And whilst public markets have performed very well in recent years, it's often concentrated in one or two very particular sectors, for instance, technology in the S&P, financial, energy in the FTSE 100. And as we move through economic cycles, it's my belief that ICGT's actively managed and more diversified portfolio will continue to deliver these strong long-term returns for shareholders. This is the track record we've built up over the last decade. We've delivered 13.6% annualised NAV per share total return and 12.4% annualised share price total return. The short-term NAV performance is not where we'd like it to be, but shareholders have benefited from strong share price performance, being 18.4% annualised over the last 3 years. One of the great benefits of the investment trust model is that we're not subject to subscriptions or redemptions. Oliver, Colm and the team can make investments with a reasonably high degree of certainty about the capital available to them in the coming months and quarters. And shareholders benefit from knowing their portfolio is being managed for the long term. Capital allocation has come to the fore within the investment trust sector in the last 3 years or so, and I'm very pleased and proud that ICGT was an early mover in adopting an active, flexible policy with regards to buybacks, supplementing our progressive dividend policy, and working in conjunction with ongoing investments in the portfolio. Over the last 3 years, we've returned 150 million sterling to shareholders, split broadly equally between buybacks and dividends, and getting this balance right continues to be at the forefront of the board's mind. In assessing this, we think about shareholder returns in 3 distinct buckets. Firstly, building long-term compounding growth in the portfolio through new investments, which are typically underwritten to mid-teens IRR. Secondly, a quarterly cash yield through our progressive dividend policy, which has seen dividend per share grow for 13 consecutive years. And finally, thirdly, buybacks, both through a long-term programme which can operate at any discount to NAV, and an opportunistic programme. These deliver immediate NAV per share accretion, as well as supporting the wider market for our shares. We have the largest buyback programme in the sector, with 9% of our opening shares bought back since October 22. So, as I look at the whole picture today, on the macro side, an environment with increasing uncertainty. But on the micro side, an investment strategy like ICGT's, which is designed to be more resilient with a robust balance sheet that's required for entering periods of uncertainty. It's managed by a team with the resources, network and track record to navigate complex markets, and a structure that allows us to invest for the long term. And a board that's absolutely focused on getting the right balance between investments, buybacks and dividends. I have firm belief that we can continue to deliver long-term compounding returns for our shareholders.